Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Джаям Вишнупада Парамахамса Параджакачарья Штатарашата Шри Шримат Абхай Чарана Равинда Бхактивиданта с вами Шрила Прабхупада Махараджа ки джай. Ананта Кути Вайшнава Вринды ки джай. All glory to assembled devotees. All glory to assembled devotees. All glory to assembled devotees. Jai Shri Shri Guru Guranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4 and the title of this fourth canto is The Creation of the Fourth Order, and the chapter 7, The Sacrifice Performed by Daksha, text number 21. Vakshasya Vadhurvanamaludara Hasava Lokka Kalaya Ramayam Vishvam Parshva Ramadya Janachama Rajhamsah Shvetata Patra Shashino Pari Rajyamanah. Word by word translation. Vakshasi. Waiting, right? Okay, let's wait.
He is asking for shloka recitation.
Yes, so where is shloka recitation? Where it is? Please do it.
Yes.
Okay, do it. You chant. Yes. Vakshasya Dishtrita Vadurvanamaludara Asavaloka Karya Ramayam Shavishvam Ashvavramadhyajana Chamararacha Hamsa Shvetata Patra Shashino Parirajyamana Vakshasya Dishita Vadurvanamaludara Asavaloka Kalaya Ramayam Shavishvam Ashvavramadhyajana Chamararacha Hamsa Shvetata Patra Shashino Parirajyamana. Okay, word by word meaning. Vakshasi on the chest. Adhishrita, situated. Vadhuhu, a woman. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. Vanamali, garlanded with forest flowers. Udara, beautiful. Hasa, smiling. Avaloka, glance. Kalaya, with the small part. Ramayan, pleasing. Cha, and. Vishvam, the whole world. Parshva, side. Ramat, moving back and forth. Vyajana Chamara, white yak-tail hair for fanning. Raja Hamsaha, swan. Shveta Atapatra Shashina, with a white canopy like the moon. Upari, above. Rajamanaha, looking beautiful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Hare Krishna. Lord Vishnu looked extraordinarily beautiful because the goddess of fortune and the garland were situated on his chest. His face was beautifully decorated with a smiling attitude which can captivate the entire world, especially the devotees. Fans of white hair appeared on both sides of the Lord, like white swans, and the white canopy overhead looked like the moon. Purport. The smiling face of the Lord Vishnu is pleasing to the whole world. Not only devotees, but even non-devotees are attracted by such a smile. Yes. This verse nicely describes how the sun, moon, 8-petaled lotus flower, and humming black bees were represented by the fans of hair, the overhead canopy, the moving earrings on the both sides of his face, and his blackish hair, all together accompanied by the conch shell, wheel, club, lotus flower, bow, arrows, shield, and sword in his hands. This presented a grand and beautiful audience for Lord Vishnu, which captivated all the demigods there, including Daksha and Lord Brahma. Om Agyana Timirandasya, Gananjana Shalakaya, Chakshur Umiritamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manoh Krishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svairupa Kadama Yam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in today's verse, the beauty of Supreme Lord is described, and time to time in different pastimes that are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. A lot of pastimes are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. We can read how Supreme Lord, by His sweet will, He decides to appear and to tell something to His pure devotees. So here the beauty of Supreme Lord is described. Hare Krishna. Beauty of the Supreme Lord is described in this verse. And when we meditate on this beauty, it is very helpful for our spiritual life. Why it is helpful for our spiritual life? Oh, you arranged your own Namahata here, right? Right? It is translation. Okay, good. Okay, Hare Krishna. So this beauty is very helpful because when we meditate on beauty of Supreme Lord, how it influences on our consciousness, on our mind, it influences in such a way that the consciousness becomes spiritualized. So we live in this material world and we interact with different objects of this material world, and these objects are mainly under influence of three modes of material nature. If you like, you sit closer. Sit closer. Sit closer. These objects are under the modes of material nature. You also come here. These objects are under the modes, under the influence of the modes, of three modes of material nature. And it means when we meditate on the object of this material world, we become also under the influence of three modes of material nature. That's why it is said in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Mama Bhijanati, Yavan Yaschasmi Tatvataha, Tatumam Tatvato Yatva Vishate Tadanantaram, that living entity can enter the kingdom of God only if he is engaged in the process of devotional service, which is transcendental by its nature. Devotional service is not under the three modes of material nature. This process is given to us by the representatives of Sri Guru Parampara. But of course, in the third canto of Bhagavatam, we can find the chapter where the devotional service in three modes of material nature is described. So it means that devotional service itself, it is transcendental, but the performer or doer, he can be, and usually he is. Yeah, you translate. Usually he is under these three modes of material nature, or usually some particular mode of material nature dominates. So here we read this story where the appearance of Supreme Lord is described, and we can meditate on this form, on this description, the same way we can meditate on our deities, Shri Shri Radha Damodar, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, and so on. And in Shri Ishopanishad, the nature of this Supreme Lord and the nature of Archi Vigraha, of deity as well, because Archi Vigraha is not different from Supreme Lord. It's Supreme Lord himself. So these two qualities are mentioned in Shri Ishopanishad, that he is Shuddham and Apapa Vidham. Shuddham means that he is the most purest. He is the purest one in the whole big creation, manifestation, in all three worlds. In material world, spiritual world, he is the purest one, means Shuddham. And Apapa Vidham means that sin cannot touch him. Means he cannot become conditioned by sinful reactions. Because again, this law of karma, according to this law of karma, some people they get sinful reactions and some people they get pious karma. But anyway, this law of karma works in material world only. It is arranged in such a way that here in material world we get punishment or reward according to our actions. Do you translate or not? Or you're just sitting? So we meditate on Supreme Lord. And in the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that when curtain is opened, it is very nice to start our meditation on this form of Supreme Lord, not just by looking in his face. We start from lotus feet. We start from lotus feet. Maybe you remember. It is from the second canto of Bhagavatam. And then gradually we look upper and upper and upper. And this description is given in the second canto of Bhagavatam, that different limbs of the body of Supreme Lord are represented by different cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there is one strong statement, very bold and strong statement that those who are not free from sex desire, they should not meditate, they should meditate on lotus feet of the deity only. They cannot look upper. They have no right. The same way as if one has sex desire, he has no right to sit here. It is written there. So once Srila Prabhupada was glorified by his disciples that, oh, you are so pure, you are so free from karma, you don't have karma. And Srila Prabhupada first he answered, yeah, I don't have karma. And then after some time he told, actually I have, but I have no time for this. I have no time I have for this, no time. A calendar, no time for satisfaction of these sex desires. So it is our salvation. If we keep ourselves busy in devotional service, then we are saved. Then we are in secure position. It is not that we are forced to serve. It is not that our boss or our mentor or spiritual master, they force us to serve. It is our privilege. We should consider this to be our privilege which we should appreciate. It is the proper attitude. But of course, because of this material conditioning, it is quite difficult to be stable in this practice. And mainly, this way of Bhakti Yoga, path of Bhakti Yoga, is considered to be austerity for the mind. The main austerity for the mind in Kali Yuga is to chant every day, on a regular basis, every day, prescribed number of rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And it is the austerity of the mind. The main and the only austerity of the mind. To chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because mind is so creative. He gives so many ideas of what we can do today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and different ideas. But we bound ourselves by taking these vows before spiritual master. That we chant holy names, that we follow 4 regulative principles. So this spiritual path sometimes is compared with highway. You understand? Highway. And there are different small roads on the left side, on the right side. So the main idea of this process of Bhakti Yoga and the process of each and every yoga is to be focused. Is to be focused on prayojana. Is to be focused what we are doing and what for we are doing. So the same way like driver, he drives on highway. And if he knows the route, he has no idea to turn left or right. So the same idea, the same way, we get this instruction, we get this route from Krishna's representative, from spiritual master, and he says where to go, and we go. And when mind says, let's break some principles, or let's skip some rounds, or let's do something, then we remind ourselves that we are bound by these promises, by these vows that we took before spiritual master, before Krishna's representative, whose mercy we appreciate so much. It depends on our attitude to spiritual master. What is the role of the spiritual master in our life? And on this, really depends how one will be determined or not determined in following these vows. So in Kali Yuga atmosphere, it is quite typical, it is quite predictable that people, they give some promises and then after some time they decide that the situation has changed. And now my circumstances of my life are other circumstances. So now I will be acting in another way. But it is special promises that we take before Krishna's representative. And the attitude should be that it is really for the whole life. For the whole life, and if it will be required, for few lives, for many lives. It depends how many lives it will take to reach spiritual abode. So here, this determination, it is not only about determination in chanting holy names or in following 4 regulative principles. It is also determination to engage our senses in devotional service. We have these senses. We have this ability to see something, to hear something, to taste, to touch, and to smell. Five senses. So, and the idea of devotional service is to engage all this, in practice. So, regarding this beauty of Supreme Lord, which is described in today's verse, Shaunaka Rishi, he says, in the 3rd chapter of 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 3rd chapter of 2nd canto, it is called Pure Devotional Service, the change in the heart. In the 2nd canto, different levels of consciousness are described. In the 1st chapter of the 2nd canto, those people are described who meditate on Virat Rup, on universal form of Supreme Lord. It is for those people who are so grossly materialistically conditioned, that they have to use their imagination to imagine that, for example, these trees that we can see, they grow from the ground. These trees are like hairs on the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the mountains are like bones of the body of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so on and so on. So actually, this Virat Rupa, this universal form, is imaginary form. It is just the practice how to link, how to connect this beauty of nature, of lakes or of forests, of mountains, and all these things, how to connect it with the idea that there is a creator who created all this and who controls everything. The 2nd chapter of the 2nd canto, the next chapter, describes those who meditate on Paramatma, on Supreme Lord who is situated in everyone's heart. And then in the 3rd chapter, the process of devotional service is described. So Shaunaka Rishi, he is so much inspired when he hears this message from Sutta Goswami, that he says that it is so nice that you describe pure devotional service. It is so nice. And you please continue to describe, because those who are not practicing devotional service, their life is useless, and they cannot use their senses properly. Their usage of the senses is also useless. Usage is useless. Shri Shri Radha Damada Ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadarama Ki, Hare Krishna. So here, in the verse from this 3rd chapter of 2nd canto, Shaunaka Rishi, he says in the verse 2.3.22, that the eyes which don't look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu are like those printed on the plumes of the peacock, and the legs which don't move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks. It is verse 2.3.22. So basically it means there are a few verses in this chapter where Shaunaka Rishi he tells in such way that human being is not considered actually to be human being if he is not acting like human being, if he doesn't use his senses in devotional service. His eyes are useless, his legs are useless, his body is dead body. Dead body in the sense that this body is not spiritualized. by spiritual activities. So here, this beauty of Supreme Lord is described in today's verse. And when we meditate on this beauty, we become pure. The process of purification is going on. There is external purity and internal purity. External purity we can achieve by taking bath every day, or better to take bath every day few times. Hare Krishna, few times. And we achieve internal purity, purity of the heart, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, according to our theology, according to our teachings, the internal purity is more important. Internal, of course, any purity is important, but internal purity is the foundation, is the basis. So here in this story, where Daksha, Shiva, Sati, they take part in this story, they participate here. Here, Shiva was criticized by Daksha. Daksha told that Shiva, he's not pure. He is not pure. He is always surrounded by all these ghosts, all these subtle living entities, and he prefers to stay in dirty places and so on and so on. So externally it is like this, but it is just his role. His role. One of the Lord Shiva's names are Bhutanath. Bhutanath. There is Jagannath, Gopinath, and Bhutanath. But it is not the same. Bhutanath, it is Shiva. It is about Shiva. Gopinath, Krishna. Jagannath is Jagannath. Also Krishna, of course also. It is the form of Krishna. So, Bhutanath, it means he takes care of bhutas, he takes care of all these subtle living entities who are not so pious, who are so unpious that they even don't have sufficient karma to get gross body. But anyway, mercy should be there. So Lord Shiva, who is Vaishnavanam Yadhashambhuh, who is the best from all the devotees, all the Vaishnavas, he takes care of them. And in order to find common language, he takes such role, he takes such image, such dress, such appearance. Like when we go somewhere and when we preach, when we try to preach, then we should take care, take the circumstances, different circumstances we should take in account. So Srila Prabhupada, in his letters, he writes that it is not that we always have to dress, always have to wear Vaishnava dress. It is not that always we have to do it. It depends on circumstances. And if we will be accepted more favorably somewhere in ordinary dress, then better to wear ordinary dress. It depends on our audience. But Srila Prabhupada, he writes in this particular letter that if we decided to take ordinary dress, it should be the dress of those who are considered to be ladies and gentlemen of this particular modern society. In this particular modern society, in this particular country, the dress which is considered to be the dress of a cultural man, not just jeans and a t-shirt with holes, torn t-shirt, and all these things. Old and torn t-shirt and jeans that are also torn. But anyway, for some audience, maybe this dress is nice, to wear the torn jeans.
Yes.
Yeah, for some audience. So Shiva was criticized by Daksha because he took such image, such dress. But Daksha's problem was that he was judging Shiva and other living entities as well. He was judging them just by external things, just by how it looks like externally. And if we're speaking about the practice of Krishna consciousness, it means that we should be able to get to know what is inside, what is a person's consciousness, what is the level of his consciousness or of her consciousness. And it works in such a way that if we try to judge someone's level of spiritual advancement, we can understand, we can judge only from the level on which we actually are and the levels that are below. But it is quite difficult to judge those people who are more experienced, those who are more elevated, because we cannot understand this. We cannot understand these particular levels of consciousness. So it is one of the tasks in spiritual life to get to know what is my level is, what my level is. Hare Krishna. It is one of the tasks to understand what is my level. And we can take care of spiritual master, we can take care of our mentors, and they can help us to understand what is our position now, what is expected, what to do to progress spiritually, and so on and so on. So, Satsvarupa Maharaj, he wrote a very nice book. And this book is entitled 26 Qualities of Vaishnava. And one of these qualities is Daksha. Yeah, Daksha. We were speaking about the story of Daksha. And as we can see, his example of Daksha from this story, which is described in the 4th canto of Bhagavatam, the example is such that he has got this particular skill to create progeny, and he became so proud because of this. So it was actually the main reason why he has got these problems, these troubles that are described here in this story. So it is one of the Vaishnava qualities to be Daksha, but this term Daksha should be properly understood. Should be properly understood. Daksha means to be an expert in something. But if one is an expert in something, it doesn't mean that he obviously has to become proud that he is an expert in something. So when we get some skills, when we learn how to play harmonium or karatalas or mridanga or to lead kirtan or to cook and so on and so on, we can just meditate on Srila Prabhupada's example. He is our founder Acharya. He is the main person, the main Shiksha Guru in the whole ISKCON society. So we can meditate on example of his humility when he was glorified each and every time, when he was glorified for what he did. What was his response? What was his answer? He was answering that actually I did nothing, and even if I did something, I was just trying to follow my spiritual master's instructions. Means he was not taking credit for anything. And we can meditate on Srila Prabhupada that he was not taking credit for anything. We can just meditate on his example. Very simple example. And we become purified. We meditate on some Srila Prabhupada's activities and we become influenced by his qualities, at least some drops of his mercy, some drops of his qualities can penetrate in our hearts. That's why it is actually the culture of ISKCON, which Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they try to establish. They have this Srila Prabhupada's committee in GBC, Srila Prabhupada's committee. And the task of this committee is to establish proper position, proper understanding of who Srila Prabhupada is. And their efforts, the efforts of Srila Prabhupada's disciples are such that they share some stories, they share some memories, Srila Prabhupada's memories. They explain the qualities of Srila Prabhupada, why it is important, because this particular generation of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they are devotees who have seen Srila Prabhupada with their own eyes. And it is very important. So they try, and it should be appreciated, they try to establish something before they will pass away, before they will leave this planet. They have to give us something, they have to give something to the next generations in order that next generations would understand Srila Prabhupada better, would understand him better as a personality, would understand him better as his position regarding ISKCON and all these things. So the more we read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita and all other books, not only books written by Srila Prabhupada, but also books that are written about Srila Prabhupada, the more Srila Prabhupada and his presence is there in our life. He can be presented in our life. It is possible. The more we meditate on him, the more we meditate on his qualities, the more we meditate on his activities, the more we become affected and attached to Srila Prabhupada. And it is important. Again, he is Shiksha Guru for each and every devotee in ISKCON. Each and every devotee in ISKCON. And each and every devotee in ISKCON should try to develop relationships with His Divine Grace, Abhayacharana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One spiritual master, I don't remember who, Jayadvaita Maharaj. It was Jayadvaita Maharaj. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, there was one story in his life. There was a Kadashi in Mayapur. And they have this Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. It is the name of the temple. Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. And they have this bakery stall in a courtyard of this temple. They have bakery store. Different cakes they sell for some visitors, for some guests, and so on. But anyway, it was a Kadashi. It means that those who are devotees, they consider not to take all these cakes, right? Not to take grains, beans, and so on and so on. So Jayadvaita Maharaj, he was sitting in this courtyard, and he was chanting holy names of Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He was chanting holy names just because we're supposed to chant more holy names on Ekadashi. And suddenly he sees one devotee, one local brahmachari from Mayapur Brahmachari Ashram, who approaches this bakery stall and buys pizza in Ekadashi. Pizza. And Maharaj approaches this devotee, or maybe it was not Jayadvaita Maharaj, maybe it was another one. But anyway, the story is true. He approaches this devotee, this Mayapur Brahmachari, and he says, actually today is, sorry. It was not Ekadashi, it was Srila Prabhupada's appearance day, where we fast till noon, till 12. We fast in Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. Yeah, it was not Ekadashi. Anyway, the rule is that till 12, till noon, we fast. So he approaches this brahmachari from Mayapur Brahmachari Ashrama, and he says that actually today is appearance day of our Srila Prabhupada, of our spiritual master, and we are not supposed to take pizza or any cake or whatever because we are fasting. And what was the response of this respected brahmachari from Mayapur Brahmachari Ashrama? He told, well, actually, Srila Prabhupada is your guru and I have my guru. And it is just, this story is about your guru only. And he took pizza. He bought pizza and he took pizza. Understand? Samaste? Again, I should repeat. Should I repeat or no? He told to this devotee, to this brahmachari, that today is Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. We are fasting. because of appearance of our spiritual master. And Brahmachari, he responded, this respected Brahmachari from Mayapur Brahmachari Ashrama, he says, well, Srila Prabhupada is your spiritual master, but I have my own spiritual master, you know? But it is the part of a culture that even if we are not initiated by Srila Prabhupada, anyway, he is our spiritual master. It might be that he is not our Diksha Guru, but he is our Shiksha Guru anyway. It is inevitable. It is inevitable. We start from, when we join ISKCON, we start from Srila Prabhupada's books. And it is the basis of our spiritual life, what is given in Srila Prabhupada's books. In 1977 in Ahmedabad, when Srila Prabhupada was about to leave this planet, when he was quite old and weak and all these things, on the last, one of his last classes in Ahmedabad, he actually told that everything that I wanted to tell, I already told in my books. Everything, all the knowledge that I wanted to give, everything is in my books. You just read my books. So regarding this quality of daksha or quality of an expert, Srila Prabhupada says, what does it mean? What does it mean to be an expert? A devotee is expert. This means that he is willing to do anything. He does not say because he is a Brahmana, he cannot do a menial task. Again, he doesn't say because he is a Brahmana, he cannot do a menial task. Means daksha or expert means he is ready to do what should be done. What should be done for Krishna's satisfaction. And if sometimes, because of circumstances, we have to do something not strictly according to our nature, but because of circumstances, we have to do it. And if one is able to do it, then he is daksha, according to Srila Prabhupada's definition. Srila Prabhupada's definition. So here in this book, where the qualities of a devotee are described, again, this book is called 26 Qualities of a Devotee. Satsvarupa Maharaj, he describes different aspects of what to be expert. What to be expert. One more aspect of expertise is, the first one was that I do what should be done because of the situation of circumstances in order to satisfy Krishna. It was one of the aspects. Another aspect is, he writes here in this book, the real expertise of the pure devotee is that he is able to extricate himself, means to liberate, to extricate himself and others from the difficult web of Maya. The conditioned soul is imprisoned in the material world under the divine energy of Krishna, Mama Maya Duratya, and the material universe itself is covered with many layers of material elements, earth, water, fire, air, etc. The deluding energy Maya is herself very expert, keeping the conditioned souls illusioned and bound. The supreme expert is Krishna. Mahamaya is very expert to keep us what? To keep us bound in material world. She is very expert servant of Krishna. Mahamaya is very expert servant of Krishna, and the service that is performed by Mahamaya is thankless service. Understand? Thankless service means no one is happy because of this service. But anyway, Mahamaya keeps conditioned living entities inside this web of material existence, and one of the reasons why she does it, she is testing, if to speak about devotees, she is testing their determination. how serious they are, how serious devotees are, how determined they are. All these obstacles on the path of devotional service that are there, they are just to test us, are we determined or not. Or, like Srila Prabhupada, he says that what is the task or the goal or the job of Mahamaya? She is testing why this particular Jivatma is trying to approach Krishna. He is trying to approach in order to serve Krishna, or he is trying to approach in order to bother Krishna with different orders. Give me this, give me that. So it is the idea. Why Mahamaya is so powerful. Why it's so powerful? Because it is not that each and every person who is on the spiritual path is sincere enough or pure enough. So real expertise means to help others to get rid, to become liberated from this web of Maya. And again, it is the role of a spiritual master who gives knowledge, who Oma Gyana Timiranda Sya Gyanan Jana Shalakaya, who comes in our life with this torch of knowledge and who explains us and gives practical example of what does it mean to be in the mood of pure devotional service. He shows the example, and if we imbibe at least a little bit of this mood of pure devotional service from his instructions and his personal example, if we imbibe, then it helps us to come through different challenges and tests that are given by Mahamaya. So that's why spiritual masters, they always emphasize Utsaha Nishchaya Daryat. Utsaha Nishchaya Daryat. Always be enthusiastic, always be determined, always be tolerant. And it looks like, for conditioned mind, it looks like that why he is always saying all the same. I want to hear something new. Give me something new for my what? For my that I could become more knowledgeable, and so on and so on. That my mind would be happy because now I've got something new, some new knowledge. But this principle, when we repeat these simple and basic things again and again, it helps us because after each and every time we get the deeper understanding of the same principles. And these principles, they just sound simple. But practical application, it takes efforts and it takes expertise. So that's why when we go on the class, on living class of Bhagavatam, or on recorded, or we're about to listen recorded class of Bhagavatam, of Bhagavad Gita, and if mind says us that why you are going to listen all this, you have heard this so many times, then just we can humbly tell our mind, shut up, shut up, I'm not going to listen to you. Because I know that if I will be listening this spiritual message, it will help me anyway. Externally, it looks like it is all the same. But internally, it will not be the same. One cannot enter the same water twice. There is such a famous Roman proverb that one cannot enter the same water twice. You know this proverb? The idea is one cannot enter the same water twice. It means there is a river, so the water flows, and it means that you enter this river. It is one situation, one water. Next time you enter this water, this river, the water is another. So this idea that one cannot enter the same river twice, it means that every time when we do, externally it looks like all the same. But anyway, the circumstances are always changeable, like everything in this world. So we we open the same books, the same Srila Prabhupada's books, or we listen to the same classes, externally it looks like all the same, because what was printed here on these pages 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe this book was published, printed 15 years ago, and of course, these letters that you can see on the page, it will not be changed. It will not be changed. The letters will be all the same, but when you read it again, from anyway, you read it from another perspective, because consciousness is another. In each and every particular moment, consciousness is another. And this consciousness that is changed, now it is in contact with this spiritual message, and then because we are different from what we've been, what kind of a person we've been yesterday or day before yesterday, now we're a little bit different person because everything is changeable. And now we open this, we read, and we can get something new. Externally, it looks like all the same. But anyway, we can get something new. Supreme Lord is ever fresh. Ever fresh. The same way we chant the same Mahamantra every day, and no one is bothered to do it. Even more, sometimes we experience some happiness. Some happiness of chanting these holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the last sentence from the same book, written by Satsvarupa Maharaj, very nice statement. He wrote here, for us, the required expertise is simple. We have to grasp the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya's Krishna conscious practices. We have to grasp the lotus feet of this process of bhakti yoga. It is our required expertise, means we have to become stable, we have to become fixed. And then we're considered to be Daksha. Hare Krishna, do you have some questions? Yeah. Yeah, we have mic because we also have broadcasting, and it would be nice to speak in mic. Yeah. Yes.
So, it's an imaginary form. And so I was thinking like, so do we have any practical experience of a person who has been worshipping or who is worshipping the person form?
Well, I've heard that Lord Krishna himself, he has shown this universal form to Duryodhana and to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita in 11th chapter. And, and it is interesting that the results of these cases was different. Duryodhana, because he is a Asuric person, he had seen this Virat Rupa, but because of this he have not got faith that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead to whom we should bow down. But when Arjuna have seen the same, not the same, another one, because our acharyas, they explain that this Virat Rupa or universal form, each time, every time it is constructed from these material elements, especially for those who are supposed to see this. So Krishna, he decided, let me show this form. He constructed from his energies, particular form for Duryodhana to see. And the same way, he created the same form, temporary form for Arjuna. And Arjuna was impressed, and because of he was impressed, he thought, okay, now I became really serious about taking your instructions. So the results can be the same. It depends on what kind of consciousness contacts with this Virat Rup or with any other process of spiritual advancement. And regarding people who were practicing this process, I don't know. You are from India, you know much more better what kind of spiritual movements are here. You don't know. Uh-huh.
Practitioners of different yoga process, like yoga and they're there.
Uh-huh.
I've never been able to observe anybody who is worshiping universal form aspect of God.
Well, maybe it is from the past, maybe. I don't know, maybe there are some special temples or special groups of spiritualists who do it, but I've never heard about this. But anyway, this process is described in Bhagavatam, means it is authoritative process, but at the same time, if we have got access to Bhakti Yoga, then what we use to practice Viratrupa meditation. Yeah. Because it is the highest process. Bhakti Yoga is the highest process. Are there some more questions or thoughts? Hare Krishna. Yeah, yes, please.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
You mentioned that Lord
It
Krishna
is
showed
mine.
the universal
It is
form
mine.
to first
Don't
Duryodhana
distract me. He is asking the
and
question.
then to Arjuna.
Don't distract me. Please repeat.
You said that Krishna showed the
Uh-huh.
universal form first to Duryodhana and then to Arjuna.
Uh-huh.
In 11th chapter 47 verse, he says that this form has been shown to anyone in the past. So what was shown to Duryodhana was it different from what was shown to Arjuna?
Again, I didn't understand.
In the 11th chapter 47th verse,
Uh-huh.
Krishna says, Annena Drishtoram, means no one else than you, none other than you has seen this form of me before.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what is the question?
So what I'm saying is that the form showed to Duryodhana was different from
Yeah, different.
that.
This is exactly what I'm trying to explain. It is different. It is not that Viratrupa always exists. Viratrupa is constructed from material elements, and just by Krishna's will, when he wants to show this form to someone, to Arjuna or to Duryodhana, he constructs this show, and he shows. And of course, to see this form, it is written in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one has to have special vision. That's why in this particular chapter, he says that now I'm going to give you special vision that will help you to see this form. And this special vision, who has this special vision? Demigods, they have. Divya Chakshu or something like this. I don't remember the Sanskrit words. Divya Chakshu means those who this vision which devas or demigods have. So basically, it means that not only Arjuna but also demigods who were presented, they also could see this universal form, which was shown in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Speak louder. Louder. We have broadcast.
In the beginning of session, you have mentioned that devotional services are beyond the modes of religion.
Okay.
And after that, maybe I heard that you have mentioned devotional services somehow are under the material nature when we practice devotional services. I couldn't understand that once we are saying devotional services are beyond the material nature, then also material nature. So how we can understand?
Very simple. It depends on the consciousness of a performer. It is, if you like, you can read later on. It is third canto, chapter number 29. Third canto, chapter 29. So it depends. If one is tamasic, tamasic person, then it is described his motive to worship the Lord. For example, it can be to create some harm to other living entities, to get power from this worship, and to create and to do some harm for other living entities. Like for example, there was Vrikasura, demon Vrikasura, who was worshipping Shiva, not Krishna, Shiva. He was worshipping Shiva, and his idea was that by this worshipping, I will get power. Do you remember this story? I will get power that if I will be touching someone's head by my hand, his head will be exploded. The explosion of the head. Vrikasura. Vrikasura. There is Vritrasura from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is another person. And Vrikasura is described in Krishna book. Vrikasura. So the idea of their worship is that I will get power, and by this power I will create troubles for others. For example, those who are under influence of mode of passion, they usually are motivated that I will get some fame, name, and I will become a great person, much more greater than others. Or I'll get some material benefits, some money, and so on. The motive in mode of goodness, the main motive motive in the mode of goodness, which is good motive, but which is not transcendental motive. But for us, it is good. It is to become purified, to go through the process of purification. It is sattvic motive. It is good motive on the level of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. But at the same time, it is not transcendental motive. Because transcendental motive is that we want to satisfy Krishna and his representative. So on the level of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, usually these two motives are together. I want to satisfy them, right? As much as I can satisfy them. And at the same time, I want to become purified and to become better instrument in their hands. So these two motives, transcendental motive and sattvic motive. But sometimes, because of lower motives in modes of material nature, sometimes devotees, they can act in different ways. Sometimes they can manifest even demonic qualities, or they can create conflicts between each other, or to try to do harm for each other. It depends on the level of consciousness of the practitioner. Krishna is all attractive, so different people are attracted to this movement. And we will get great experience just by remaining, by staying in ISKCON. We will get great experience of interacting with so many different kinds of people. So life will be very interesting. It is already interesting, and it is going to become even more interesting. Just because Krishna is so attractive, he is the center of this movement. So we will be interacting with so many different kinds of people. It will be amazing, fascinating, and wonderful, and interesting. Hare Krishna. Гранта Рад Шримад Бхагаватам ки джай, Шрила Прабхупада ки джай, Нитта и Гаура Примананда. Хари Бол, Хари Кришна.